Hey guys, me doing that video about my cocoa made me want to have some gravy and toast. This is not really a very nutritious breakfast, which we would also make extra toast and use it for our jams that we had, or apple butters and stuff like that. We kind of had a dessert, and we made homemade syrup that we just make individually for breakfast. And we do that, or sometimes we'd have cooked apples and a thing of pone bread. We called it pone bread, and that's an Indian thing too. But and we'll stick these. I butter these a little bit. It just seems like it tastes so much better with a little butter on it. We'll butter these a little. Stick them in the toaster oven to get toasted up. And now I'm going to work on my gravy. This is my saved bacon grease. I just had. Hey, that wouldn't fit in there. I just made some soap, lye soap, not too long ago, and I'm only going to use maybe a teaspoon's worth, and let that melt down and get my flour going in it to make me a roux. But I had just made my soap a couple months ago, and I used my bacon grease in it as well as coconut oil. And so I just finished up a full jar of this that I used in my soap. And I hate that I made that not long before I started YouTube, because that would have been a good video, but I did. But I'll be making it again, so it ain't no big deal. Get my roux started here. Let me stick that in there. I'm using flour. This here is a self-rising flour, and you just make enough of this. I'm going to start out with, I'm going to say there's a tablespoon there. And the key to gravy, and I got myself in trouble one time, guys. I worked in a restaurant, and they were making gravy for breakfast in the restaurant. And I watched the girl make the gravy, and she just dumped her flour in there. She put her grease in there, and then she dumped her flour in there, and just immediately started putting her milk in there right after that. And she threw some sausage in it, which I throw sausage in mine, or bacon, or not necessarily bacon, but deer burger. I love to put deer burger in it, if I've got it, which I don't right now. That was a big thing we did though as kids. But she just immediately, after she started this part of her roux, threw her milk in there. And I said something about, don't you wait until the roux cooks a little, because that's what gives gravy its flavor, is this part right here, Otherwise it's flour and milk. And oh well, but anyway, she got mad at me. I didn't intend for that to happen. Me and my youngest daughter, well actually my oldest daughter too, we've kind of got that thing where we don't mean anything by things, but that little part in us that makes you stop saying something that you shouldn't say, sometimes that thing gets stuck and it don't operate right, so we say stuff we didn't mean to come out the way it sounded. So if I ever do that on you, you'll know that my little stucker is stuck. But anyway, I put a little salt in here. We've got to have a little flavor with that as well. But I cooked my roux. I want to show you what it looks like right now. See, this is what it looks like right now. It's not very... I usually put pepper in it now, but I'll wait just so you can see what consistency I like to get my gravy to. We'll turn that up a little, so it'll start darkening up. But if you let it darken up, just let it sit there for a few minutes and really cook that flour. You don't just throw your milk in there. Now this is a big southern thing, is biscuit and gravy or toast and gravy. I know sometimes a lot of northern people don't necessarily eat this, but we do down here a lot. See, you can see right there it's starting to get a little darker. See that? That's where your flavor comes from. And if you do this with, like we would fry our deer burger and use that grease to do that, or if you're making sausage, make your sausage and use it. as your grease to do this, just whatever. See, it's starting to get dark. There's where your flavor comes from with gravy. Let me stick this back because I'm fixing to have to stick my milk in there, which I'm using almond milk because I just don't digest milk well anymore. That was a hard one for me too because I grew up on straight cow's milk, and you know that's been a big thing for me to eat. Just keep mixing this good, and start mixing as soon as you put your milk in there, because if you don't, you'll start getting lumpy and all that kind of good stuff, and you don't want lumpy gravy. Get your temperature not too hot but not too low, kind of medium. This skillet here has cooked a many of gravy because this was my mother's skillet. And my toast is over there doing its thing. My gravy, it's starting to smell like good old gravy. Now let me pause this and I'll get everything set up, and then I'll do my chocolate milk and just show you my awesome little frugal meal. Hold on. Alright, now here's my toast. I got my toast. It's all pretty. I'm not going to pour my gravy on there yet, but I'm going to slide that. This is my beans. I got some pinto beans soaking. I put a little vinegar in the water to soak them, and soak them about 18 to 24 hours. It helps pull the gas and stuff out. I actually learned that from off of Doug and Stacy's Off the Grid, however it's worded, I don't remember, but anyway, Doug and Stacy, most of you will know. And this is the first time I'm going to try it with the vinegar to see how it does pulling the gases out. So we'll find out, but I'm excited about that. There's my cocoa that I made, and I don't want a whole lot of milk, but this is almond milk here. This is a tablespoon that you just, normal tablespoon, and I'm going to put about a tablespoon's worth in there. And that's just a tad richer than I would want it, because normally people would fill their glass up more. Now let me tell you something else I have done with this. This will kind of settle, the chocolate kind of settles in here because it is homemade. It's not like store-bought. But I have saved before a Hershey squirt bottle to put this in, and I don't really want to do that again. I mean, you can if you want to, because it's convenient having the squirt bottle and all that kind of good stuff. But the problem is where this settles, it gets really thick down here in the bottom. And where that settles, it's hard, you can't get it out. You might as well throw your bottle away when you're done, unless you're going to use a ton of water to try to clean it out. So I don't suggest one of those type of bottles, or any type of bottle that you can't clean out easy. Bottom line, or shake up good, because some of it don't really want to shake up. Sometimes you have to stick a, when you get down here closer to the bottom, which I do this usually whenever I get it out of the fridge anyway. But that's that. So there's my chocolate milk. Here's my pretty toast. Looks good and buttery. It just makes it 10 times better. And then here's my gravy. You want to smell that? And no, I didn't make that much. I'm doing this left-handed. This is amazing meal, guys. I'm telling you. If you've just ever just sitting around and you want something very comforting, I would normally get my spatula and get that out better, but I'm not right now. And then I like the big pepper. This, I've got a regular pepper in my regular pepper shaker, but this is that big restaurant style pepper, and I don't know, it's one of those quirks for me. I love to put the big pepper on this. And when we were in the summertime, we would cut us up a good tomato and eat on the side with this here. But, well, let me lay it down here. There's my milk, and there's that. Let me show you. That is my awesome breakfast. That has no major value, but whenever you're trying to feed kids and you've not got much to feed them, or you just want something good and comforting, this is an amazing meal, guys. And if you use almond milk, good. If you want to use regular milk, I generally, and I guess we just did this just to conserve on milk, which we milked cows, so, I mean, we constantly had milk. We milked up to nearly 100 head almost every day, twice a day, for years. That's how I grew up. So we always had milk, but I do know that Mama would use half milk and half water sometimes, and I guess just to make it go further. I'm assuming that's why she did it. Because we didn't have a huge family, but we still had a pretty good sized family. Plus, a lot of times my dad had hired hands that would come in. They'd barter for things, like barter for hay and stuff like that, and they'd help Daddy out on the farm. And, you know, we'd have to feed them whatever as well. I remember one particular time, I'll try to hurry on this. We had these two women. My dad had won, he was a grade A dairy, and he had won Farmer of the Year. I don't know if it was just the eastern side of the United States or if it was all over. I really couldn't tell you. It probably was just the eastern side of the United States. But I know he had to go to South Dakota to get awarded for it and everything. But through all that, it opened up different doors for him, and he had these two women that were going to school to be veterinarians and had something more to do. I think they were really specializing in farm animals or something. I'm not really sure. I was just a kid. But anyway, they came from New York down here to do some of their hands-on time, community time. I don't know what they called it, but it was for their schooling. And they had never had biscuits and gravy, which then we had the day we done that, we had biscuits. And Mom would always make her biscuits whenever, you know, we did it that way. But, or me and my sister, whichever. But they'd never had biscuit and gravy before. And one of them, I don't think she ever really tried it because she thought it was so gross. And then the other girl did, and she really liked it. So this might be strange to some people. I don't know. But it's a very awesome meal. See, I just cut that up. It's got a little bit of a bacon flavor to it where you've got the bacon grease in there. It's a very comforting meal. And then to wash it down with that chocolate milk. Awesome, awesome, awesome. If anybody's ever had this type of meal, I'd love to hear about your, you know, things you dealt with when you was a kid and ideas like this. That would be really awesome to hear about. And if you haven't, I encourage you to try it and let me know what you thought, because I believe you'll really like it. And if you got some good fresh tomatoes, cut you a good slab of fresh tomato, one of those big ones. Slide it down on the side and eat it with your gravy and all of it. Ooh. Or fry you some bacon and sausage, eggs. We had all that kind of stuff with it too. But it just depended on how quick Mama had to hurry up and fix breakfast, or, you know, me and my sister, either one, whatever, or what we had. Because sometimes we didn't have much, and this was a cheap way to do it. And you can do it with water if you have to. And it's not quite as rich flavored with water, but it still will make a meal. So that's an awesome thing to do. Anyways, thank you. God bless you guys, and I'll see you later. Please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I don't really have Facebook or nothing like that, so I don't have a means. I did just start an Instagram, and it's a Little Jordan Farm on Instagram if you want to follow my Instagram. So I don't really have a means to try to pull people in. I just kind of do what I do and praise God for the rest. And that's it. But anyway, I appreciate it a great deal. And share. Anyway, thank you. God bless. Bye.